Hey guys, Kathy Iconis here. Ready to get us started on our QBO month-end master course, kicking that off today. So I have a few little housekeeping things that I am still kind of working on and dealing with behind the scenes. I want to make sure everyone is able to get in and there's no questions or anything like that. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on email in case anyone freaks out. And then also looking at the Facebook group to make sure that there's no questions or anything like that coming in. So I don't see anything yet. So let me kick it off with before we get into the intro and all of that fun stuff that we'll learn about today. I want to give you a little bit more information about the Facebook page and how all of this operates. Okay, so here is the example of the Facebook page. Um, and feel free to ask questions and stuff. I'll have that panel open when if you guys have any questions, flipping things around on the monitors. Woo woo. Okay. I don't know. I'm weird. Okay. So here is the Facebook private group right here for the month-end master course. So what you will see is my view is a little bit different because I'm the admin on here, but you have the same setup of general like discussion area, and you can post anything you want right here. I would recommend under notifications to turn on all posts so that you can get notified when things come in and see what's going on, right? The other thing that I have for you, we have set this up as units. So units allows me to kind of it's for training, right? So I'm able to like segment the whole course. And obviously we have 6 live sessions, right? So I have gone through and given you these sessions in here, okay? So lesson 1, getting started, lesson 2, creating a process, all the way down. And then within them, I will come in and upload the slides for you to view, which is a note to me that I need to get that done for everything. Let me do that. Load slides. Okay. And then when the video is done, so we're using GoToWebinar. When the video is done rendering and I have it all saved and stuff like that, I will add the link in here. So you can come back to the unit at any point in time and you can see the information that's related to that lesson. Okay. Then also, I don't have an area up here yet, but once I upload that first PDF, there will be an area that says files. Okay, that will be an easy access point for you. If you just want to go and find the files, you would just click on that and it would give you the listing of everything that has been uploaded into here. I will be uploading different templates and stuff that in here, so it's not just the slides. It's there will be additional um, resources available, and I upload for you in the group. So it's all that stuff in there. Now, the point of the group is to ask as many questions and get support and help in any way, shape, or form that you can. Okay, so I am here for you. I am ready to support you. To the best of my ability. We will have these 6 live sessions, right? And that will cover 3 weeks. Then the last week, I'm going to keep everything open and active where I'm involved, and I'm still here to answer questions. So you can catch up on things and all that sort of stuff. Okay. If you put in a comment in here and you don't get a reply from me, go ahead and just tag me and I just do a little @ sign and do Kathy. Um, that way I get a little notification that you have that question. Sometimes these things get lost in here. So there's no way that I'm trying to avoid you or not answer your question. It's just it got lost. Okay. And I need that reminder. And yeah, just help me out so that I can help you. Okay. The more comments and stuff we have going on here, the better discussions, the better training it is for everyone involved. So feel free to share anything and everything you have in here. Okay. So the course itself is 4 weeks long. After the end of 4 weeks, you still have access to this Facebook group for an entire year. Okay. I, however, am just going to check out at the end of those 4 weeks, so I won't be answering questions after that point. Um, but you still have all those resources available to you in here for a whole year. Okay, so I don't want you to freak out like if you get behind on a video or something like that. It's all going to be here for a year. Um, so right there for you. Okay. Um, I think that gives everything. Oh, one more thing. On the more area, you can pin to your shortcuts. Okay. Um, so make sure you have that pinned up here so you can get back to it easily. Okay? Yay! So there is that. And you should have gotten an email from me or from the team that with the link to this group. And we just have to accept you into the group. So once you request to be added, we'll come in and add you and you have access. So perfect, right? Okay, now let's get over to our session for today. Okay, now just to remind you, well, I haven't even reminded you yet, just to let you know, this session today is a big overview session. This is all about what we're going to be learning during this whole course. Okay, so what I do in my teaching method is to give you big picture view and then dive a little deeper into it and then a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper. So you'll see that in our sessions. You might see me repeating things over and over again. It's to help reinforce the concept for you. And then I also will add on a little bit more information and stuff like that. So today is going to be big picture view. It is not something that you have to stress out about to get all of the information at once and remember it all. Because these are all the things that I'm going to keep on bringing up in later sessions. Okay, so I just want to introduce these things to you so you're aware where we're going and figure out, the big picture of how is this all going to operate and how do we do this whole month end thing, right? Um, then the other thing I will tell you is that I am not the most polished, perfect presenter, but I keep it 100, 200% real with you. Okay. So things might be clunky or things operating weird here and there, stuff like that. But know that I'm giving you 200% of my knowledge to help you get a streamlined, efficient, and effective process in your practice on month end. Okay. So I want to make sure that you get as much value out of this as possible. And that's what I care more than making sure everything looks perfect and pretty all the time. Yes, I like things perfect and pretty, but when I weigh the two, you getting the most out of this course is far more important to me. Okay. So sometimes I might just like be silly and like you see I'm like looking over at the monitor making sure there's not any questions answered. It's yeah, we'll get there. Right? I laugh at myself, funny things happen around me. um who knows? Okay, so you'll get that, you'll get raw me, Kathy, and I laugh at myself and hopefully you are entertained. But most importantly, hopefully this is really, really going to change your practice and make it better. Okay. So that's really what I'm going for on things. So What are we going to talk about today? It's all about getting started, okay? We are going to do an introduction to month end. We're going to talk about financial statement assertions. Remember, just overview stuff. Don't freak out. I know me, even though I'm a CPA, I hear financial statement assertions and I feel dumb, okay? So don't worry about it. We got this, okay? Then we're going to look at the phases of month end and go through a sample month end for you. Now, I like to spend a little bit more time on the intro for me. Um, and yeah, you'll listen to my story and then it'll be done and you don't have to worry about it again. But I want to give you some background so you understand the perspective that I am coming from when I do month end or do any of my trainings. Okay. Um, it I think it's very important to know where people are coming from when they are sharing or training a topic in information with you. Um, I want you to know that I have my own virtual bookkeeping practice. I have been in practice for 10 years. I started out in public accounting, working in tax and not well, tax was like a month. Okay. Forensic accounting and then audit. Okay. Both of those are analyzing financials, understanding what's going on in the business and doing whatever is necessary in those two arenas, right? And then I was in corporate accounting doing management reporting for the executives. I did not do the actual financial reporting for the business. But I interacted with that team to help with month end close and get them the information that they needed to be able to do all that, and doing journal entries and stuff in that system. I have a little itch back here, so um, bear with me. Okay, I got a little alert that my audio is fine. So let me know, guys, if anything is going wrong with my audio, anything funky is happening, okay? So yeah, I have been in practice for 10 years, ever since I had my first daughter. I'm a CPA. I've always been the tech nerd, the Excel nerd, all of that sort of stuff. So I wanted to provide outsourced controller, outsourced CFO services to clients, and my way to get to that was through bookkeeping. And over the years, I've determined and realized that our clients don't really understand what a controller is. Um, Maybe they get a CFO, but most of the time what they relate to is a bookkeeper. Like, okay, I need a bookkeeper for my business. So sometimes I say I'm like a bookkeeper on steroids or something like that so that they can relate to me and understand what I do, but they still don't might not understand all the like everything I can do, right? Um, so then it's an education process. But otherwise, I'd have to start out educating them on like what is a controller? What do they do? Blah blah blah. Why does that even matter? Right? And be like, oh, well, you're a bookkeeper. So I've gone through that little process a million times. Um, so yeah, I still have my practice, but a year ago I cut back. Because I've had QBO chat, it started as a weekly Twitter chat for QBO users, right? Um, Honestly, I'm still surprised the idea worked, but 6 years, still every Thursday we have a conversation about QuickBooks Online or running a practice or something like that on Twitter. So this community started to build, and I wanted to reinforce that. So I started the website and everything. But I was coming into this thing of like trying to service small business clients and get those, but my attention keeps on being pulled back to QBO chat and all of that. And those are different potential clients, accountants and bookkeepers versus small businesses. So I'm like, a year and a half or so ago, I'm like, okay, let me cut back on this part of my business and focus all in over here. I can provide training and resources to accountants and bookkeepers to really help them like the 10 years that I've been in practice, everything I've gone through, and then knowing that I'm a tech junkie and I know how all this stuff works behind the scenes and stuff, like I can help provide that education to you all. So that's what I did. Oh my God, it scratch itches. Um, that's what I did a year and a half ago. And so I have been doing these master courses for um, over a year now. I have 4 master courses: the Introduction to QBO for bookkeepers, QBO Month End Master Course, QBO Cleanup Master Course, and the Advanced QBO Principles Master Course. Um, I now also have some webinars and on-demand training available on the website if you're ever interested in looking at other stuff, or just ask me about it, whatever. So I'm always looking at new topics, new things that I can add in and help people with. So if you ever have any ideas, let me know. Okay. So enough about me because it doesn't really matter. But um, it does matter. I don't know why I just said that. I just, you know how some people are. We don't like to give ourselves that much credit and like push it under the rug, which it's not the best thing for me to do. So, like, it, you're listening to me have a conversation with myself right now. Great. Okay. But back to, I said it's about my perspective, okay? And my perspective is, and my passion is to help you guys have a successful practice to you. Like whatever practice you want to build, I want to help you get there. And things you're struggling with, I want to help make it better for you. Versus obviously there's other courses out there that, might be sponsored by a company or um, who knows what. My incentive is I get paid for training. So I want to train you. I want you to be happy with it so that you keep on buying training from me. And that's where I want to be the most up to date on QuickBooks and have these systems down and all of that and be able to provide them to you. So there you go. Okay. So introduction to month end. Why is month end important? Um, So, as a bookkeeper, yeah, we are in charge of recording the transactions in the books, and we're supposed to be doing it right. We've all heard the stories where people don't, but you know, the business owners are relying on us to make sure that stuff is right and correct in there. And I don't know how often you guys do it, but I am in my clients' books at least once a week, updating the QBO bank feed, or doing invoices or all this whatever I'm doing. I'm in there at least once a week for them. But we all know not everyone is perfect. Not anyone is perfect. So we can make mistakes. And by having a month end process in place, we're essentially creating a check of our work to make sure that we're right. So we didn't make any mistakes, right? So doesn't matter how good I am or how good my rules are and the bank feeds or something like that, I still want to check to make sure everything is right and everything is in the right place because our clients should be and hopefully will be using those reports that come out of QBO to help them understand their business and make business decisions going forward on them. And if we're going to give them crappy financials, then they're going to make crappy business decisions. So, one, we should care about the quality of work that we're providing to our clients, right? And two, we should care about providing them with the best resources to help them in their business. So, we got to take pride in our work and make sure that we are giving them good results and reports, okay? So that's why I think month end is so important. Now, let's talk about these financial statement assertions. I'm just taking a look at how many slides we got to go through because I want to pace it out. Okay. Um, so with the financial statement assertions, there you're going to see that there are there try to say assertions like 5 times fast. It's really hard. Um, we're going to have assertions for the balance sheet and assertions for the P&L. Again, it feels like a big word that really it's just a matter of inherently when we're looking at the balance sheet, we expect certain things to happen or have happened, right? So we're looking at this and you can see complete. Okay, I expect this to be complete, what I'm looking at, right? That these things exist. So I'm not just like pulling in amounts and things out of nowhere, you know, um, just saying, hey, I own $5 million in stock. I'm just going to put that in there. Like, we want to make sure that actually exists, right? Rights and obligations. So that we actually own it. So maybe we put in a car, but is it the company's car or is it the business owner's car? So let's, who actually owns it? And that's important to have on here. Then valuation. And this usually comes down to when we are doing GAAP accounting and doing prepaids, accruals, all of that sort of stuff. You have to come up with a valuation of the number, and it's based off of an estimate, some sort of methodology that you're coming through. Even depreciation, right? There's different ways to calculate depreciation. If you're doing double declining, straight line, whatever, all that sort of stuff, right? They're different types of things. So how do we value that and make sure that valuation is accurate on the balance sheet? Okay, so all these things that we're doing to make sure that when I look at these numbers that I can rely on that information, right? Um, so again, big word, financial statement assertions, or big 3 words that really come down to, okay, here's some things behind the scenes or, foundational things to your financial statements that we just expect to be right on things. Then when we look at the profit and loss on here, are we accurate? Again, are all the numbers right? Classification, I always think is important. Are we booking things to the right accounts consistently? So that, if I want to look at advertising for the last year on a monthly basis, I have all advertising cost in that category, right? Or in that bucket. Um, if I don't, then I'm not consistently classifying things, and that can impact, if I'm saying, oh, historically I spent $500 a month on advertising, but I left out some things, then that is going to impact my decision making in the future. So that's what I want to keep on um, drilling in, is that we want to be providing correct financials. We want to care about it being right because we know how important those numbers can be to our owner, even if they're not quite there of using those financials yet. I know there's a lot of clients out there that don't care, um, but they might one day. So we want to make sure that we are keep on working and creating that, a foundation of accurate, clear financials. Okay. Completeness, everything's been recorded. Cutoff, that's usually one thing of, do we have 2018 transactions in 2018 properly, or did some of the 2018 go into 2019? And did some of 2019 go back into 2018? Was that a clear cutoff between the two, and we have the proper transactions in the right years or the right periods, okay? Occurrence, same thing. Did it actually happen? You know, um, just trying to think of, we bought that stock on the balance sheet. What can we say over here? Like, yeah, we have revenue and invoice, but it was just a someone created an invoice instead of an estimate, maybe. Okay, and it's not actually an invoice now, and there shouldn't be revenue recorded or anything like that. So it didn't actually occur, and we need to clean it up, and through a month-end process, we're going to fix this and get everything there. Okay, so there are, in my mind, these 5 phases to month end. Now, you'll hear me say 4 because I really put together review and report as one, um, just because of how I do it and lay it out. But here I kind of want to show you all the different things that we're looking at. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to plan for month end. We're not going to jump in and just go at it and do it. We're going to plan it out. So we're going to create ourselves checklist for our clients. And how are we going to do the work? What is the flow? How are we going to schedule all of that out? There are all these steps to planning, okay? And then once the month starts, which is then time to do the month end for the prior month, then we're going to get into let's reconcile everything. Okay, we're going to reconcile all bank and credit card accounts. You can reconcile almost every account on the balance sheet except for, I think, accounts receivable, accounts payable, undeposited funds, and retained earnings. Okay, so if you really want to, you can reconcile everything else. Um, it all depends on you and what your systems are. But the reason it's so important to reconcile first is when we reconcile, we determine if we've got everything. Okay, when we reconcile and say, oh, these items haven't been reconciled, well, are they duplicates? Are they supposed to be in the books? You deal with those. Or when I do a reconciliation and I'm missing transactions, I fix those and put them back into the books. So once I've reconciled everything, then I know I have my world of transactions. I don't have extra crap that's trash and whatever because I've dealt with that during the reconciliation process. I don't have things missing because I added them in if they were during the reconciliation process. So I have all of my transactions, right? So at that point, I'm able to start working on the rest of the balance sheet and go through all of that. That's where work papers come in. And if I can't reconcile something, I'm going to have some sort of work paper to support the amount on the balance sheet. And this is important because the balance sheet is the cumulative balance over all of the years of operation, the business has been around to come up with that final number that's showing on the balance sheet of that date versus when you're looking at the P&L, that's over a period of time. So, a month, a year, or something like that. So I can look at the start of those transactions and the end of those transactions easily, right? If I go to the balance sheet, it's ins and outs of those amounts, and there might be transactions that go back like 5 years that are really what makes up the balance of today. And the question is, how do we know that? Where, what is that information? How are we making sure that this is still a correct amount? Um, so we want to have some sort of support for that. So, when you have fixed assets, maybe you want to have a work paper of all the things that you've bought over the years and confirm that they're still around. Okay. Um, then also, if we're doing gap stuff, prepaids, we want to make sure that we have entered in all the amounts of prepaids and what makes up that current balance right now. And maybe even show what the rest of when everything else is going to be expensed over time and whatever. We're going to go through all of that, okay? Then once we get through the work papers, then we go through a review, okay? And yes, we are checking our work even though month end is a check of our work. So it's like a double check, right? But when we go through the review, we review everything on the balance sheet, make sure everything is still in line with our work papers and our reconciliations. We just don't want to make sure, like if we moved anything around by cleaning up anything else, we want to make sure everything's still right. Okay, just double check that. And then we go through the P&L and make sure that those transactions look right, they're in the right place, and that sort of stuff. There's less you usually have to do on the P&L than on the balance sheet. That's because everyone likes to hide things on the balance sheet or make mistakes on the balance sheet. Okay, we're pretty good at coding meals and entertainment to meals and entertainment. Um, we're pretty good at recording rent to rent, right? We're not always great at the payables and or you know or loans or all these other things on the balance sheet. Those are a little bit more complicated transactions, and it's how do you deal with those and make sure all that's right. So, and a lot of business owners never look at the balance sheet. So something in the past could have been recorded over there and just sitting over there that doesn't need to be there. We need to work on it and and fix it or whatever. So we're continuously managing the books and making sure everything is in its proper place and we know what's going on. This all also helps us get a big picture view of the business. Um, so when the clients are asking about things, we can say, we know all these different aspects of the business and what's been updated, what hasn't, what's going on. So it helps in that whole review process of things. And then once you review, that's your final check to make sure everything is in its right place. Then you can do your reporting. Um, Now, we'll talk about reporting. It does not have to be a big deal. It could just be saying like, hey, I'm done with your books, everything's reconciled, everything looks great. But I'll show you all different other methods that we can do for reporting if you want, if we want to go into those higher levels and just make sure you're getting paid for those higher levels, right? Because that's added value that you are providing to your clients. So those are the phases. Now, we're doing work on a monthly basis, right? So this is what I'm saying. These are the phases. And what happens is like once you get done with 1 month, then it's time for planning again. And then we're going to start the whole cycle over and over again. If by chance something gets missed on one of your month ends, you're probably going to pick it up on the next one. Okay. I don't expect you guys to be perfect, and I don't want you to hold yourselves to perfection. I want you to hold yourselves to great quality, okay? And accepting that sometimes you make mistakes and you're going to be able to fix them. And you've put systems and processes in place in your practice to catch those mistakes. I think that is far more valuable than being perfect. Knowing how mistakes are made and what systems that I need to put in place to catch those mistakes, far more important in that whole quality aspect of things. Okay, now looking at a sample month end, let's kind of go through this whole thing. What are these all these phases and how does this work? Okay. So the first thing in the planning stage, like I said before, we're going to come up with checklists for our clients, okay? And they look similar to this. I will share with you a template that I have that I think might be this one. Um, Actually, let me see if I can pull over here and let me get it up for you because I have a little bit more information that I want to share on it. Do, 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 do. There's so many other like little screens overlaying over there that's hard to like see past this. Show me. Oh, crud. Hey, I kept the language clean. It's amazing. No, checklist. Okay, here we go. So here's the layout of this checklist. Again, I'll be going over planning in our next session, so we'll dive in deeper into this, okay? But just to give you the basic layout of this spreadsheet and what happens, I have the date, what month we're doing up here, then I have the balance sheet. I list out all of the accounts, okay? So you'll see assets, liabilities, equity. Say what account it is. If you have account numbers, put them over here. And then I'm going to give it some sort of task. That account, I'm giving what am I going to do to that account to give me an assurance that everything is right? Okay. Then once I have completed that, I sign off on the date saying, so today's the 25th, did that, and then I put in my initials. Okay. So what you would see for each client is, when you completed everything and who completed it. If you are in a practice that's more than one person, this is a great opportunity to make sure that you're reviewing that person's work. So you start training people on this stuff, right? Get them to do reconciliations, and then you review their reconciliations. So you can put in these, what date you reviewed it and you signed off. If you have any notes for the person that did the reconciliation or make any changes, all of that is great training for your staff and helping them help make your business more profitable and grow and everything, right? So we have all of that in here, and I go through everything and lay it all out. Go through all of that. Now the P&L, I don't go through and write down every single account. I can put in some accounts or just like revenue is a general area, right? And then here I have uncategorized income. This SB0, that means that account should be 0. And I just want to confirm that it is, so I, sign off on it right there. Uncategorized expenses, same thing. I just want to make sure that is 0. So I will, look at it, sign off on it. It's just reminders to make sure I'm looking at the right stuff and everything that I've come up with to make sure that my month end is right. Here are all my steps, right? I just follow through on all of this. Then under here, I have a reporting area. It is something you can use or not use. If you need to do certain tasks to make sure your reports are accurate, my examples always, if you're using classes and everything has to have every transaction has to have a class on it, or at least on the P&L, then you want to make sure that's a task that we're checking before we run the reports, because there's nothing worse than running the reports, finding you have the error, something's missing and you have to go back and run the reports again. It's a total pain in the butt, right? Maybe you want to put in what reports you use, whatever. Basically a way to kind of systemize the reporting here. Again, kind of take it or leave it on that, but adapt it to what works well in your practice or not. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I have a bite on my ankle and it itches. Oh my God. Okay, so my ankle's gonna be bleeding soon from scratching. Okay, now then we have that whole thing laid out per client. Okay, we're gonna have a checklist for each client, and the checklists are great where the biggest part is we're creating a checklist once, and then the next month I just do a save as and I say September 2018, and I delete out everything that's been completed, and I have a whole new spreadsheet and checklist to go for the next month. Okay, so it's just roll it forward and keep on going with the cycle that we have, and whatever. Maybe I need to add an account one month or delete something, whatever. It just adds and builds off of each other. Then what we want to look at next is your calendar. What is your workload? How are you managing things? And how are you going to actually accomplish everything you need to accomplish in month end, right? So what I like to do is this is where really those phases come in, where I want to do the bank recs first, right? and I want to have that completed within maybe the first 5 days of the month. Then I want to have the work papers done within the first 10 days of the month. And then I want that review and report area, by the 15th of each month. Now, what you want to do here is look at your calendar and see what you have on your schedule. Okay. For me, my big day for my clients is on Wednesday, where I do a lot of processing. I'm in QBO a lot, doing a lot of the weekly work. So you shouldn't expect me, and I shouldn't expect me, to also be doing a lot of month-end work, because now I've just given myself 16 hours of work to do in one day, and that's unreasonable. So you want to look at the calendar. See, how is this whole thing going to flow? How am I going to accomplish getting through each phase in a timely manner? Okay. Then we have, crappy weekends get in the way, holidays get in the way, vacations get in the way, all of that stuff. We want to work around that so that we're not stressing ourselves out later on. Now, the next step, once we have all of that, then I'm going to go through and I'm going to reconcile every single account that I can. Now, yes, that means reconcile the credit card account. I don't know how many of your clients you've seen that don't have that reconciled, but it drives me crazy. Definitely, we're doing those, okay? We're reconciling those. Anything that has a statement is a great thing to reconcile. And all we're doing is we want to make sure that the bank matches what's in QBO, because it's kind of important, right? And how do we deal with transactions that haven't cleared, and do we need to fix anything, all that sort of stuff. It's basically going through that, all the dirty junk falls out so that we can address it at that point. And that's a great way, I think, to look at it and all those transactions in there. So in our reconcile lesson, I'm going to go through all the different screens, all the different views of things, how to deal with reconciliations, what happens when you have issues with reconciliations, all of that. But remember, I'm reconciling all those accounts. I'm going back to my checklist. I'm saying, okay, I completed all those. I completed all those. I'm not jumping the gun and working on other stuff yet. Just going through all my clients and reconciling all of those accounts first. Okay? Then I go through my clients and I do all the work papers for everyone. And again, work papers are it can be a scary word, but all it is a spreadsheet or some sort of support for the number on the balance sheet, okay? It does not have to be scary. And when we go through the work paper section, I'm going to give you a ton of examples and templates out there of how things work and what all you can create. But it's usually some sort of Excel spreadsheet that's supporting it, that you're doing a calculation to come up with your number. So here, this is a prepaid one, which we'll go through the example later on, but I'm putting in an item, when the bill date is, what the amount, how am I allocating that prepaid, like when am I expensing everything, where is it going to, all this sort of stuff. But right here, okay, what's my ending balance as of June 2018? Right here, okay? And so then my work paper shows that in QBO, my balance should be that 3750. If it's not, I got an issue and I need to fix it. That's the point of the work papers, is that the ending balance that I have on the work paper is going to match what's on the balance sheet, because that's the whole point. We're supporting that. Okay. Then we go through the review, and this is again another section, another lesson. So the review and report lesson is in one that I put together. And then the work papers, it really it ends up being like 1.5 sessions, I think. Like I start on it and then I kind of have to, yeah, it goes into a little bit of an extra session. Now I'm getting confused as to when everything is. So we'll be fine. Trust me, I've done this several times. We'll get through and you'll be happy. Okay. So on the review, what I like to do is just run the reports. Okay, I run the balance sheet and I make notes as to, okay, I've reconciled this, I have a work paper supporting that, there's no change to the inventory asset. Um, that sort of thing. So I'm making notes all the way down. The reason I really like to do this is to, I guess, two things. Make sure that my amount here on the balance sheet matches what's on the work paper or the reconciliation, especially if I have a staff person doing work, because I don't want anything messed up or changed or whatever. I need to have that review to make sure it's right. Um, then the other thing is while I'm going through here, I can see if there's been a change to an account and I don't have any activity on it, like I haven't done anything, maybe that's a new account. Maybe I need to update my checklist so that I deal with that account and I have some sort of, activity associated with it so it's right. Okay. So that's what I like to do. Then I also do a review of the P&L, right? Where I'll print out the report kind of like this. I'll make notes to things. And then I also utilize the reclassify transactions area to skim through the detail of the transactions themselves to make sure that things look right, they're in the right place, nothing's jumping out at me, wonky, any of that sort of stuff. So that review again is the balance sheet and the P&L. Then the final thing that we come to is that sample month end. Why do I say sample month end? I'm just reading that top line. It's the report. Yay! Okay, so it's the report at the end of the day. Like what are we going to provide our clients? And like I said before, it can be as simple as saying like, hey, everything's reconciled. I have those clients, okay? Um, or do they want some sort of other more customized report? I have one client where, I have a whole bunch of stuff in Excel. It's like a dashboard and I update it and we talk about it, all of that sort of stuff. So it's very in depth. I have another client where they're basically just on Fathom and I have a template set up for them and at the end of the month I just export that and send it over. Okay, so there's all these different variations of things that we can do. This example right here, the management report that's available in QBO itself, I also have one of those where I just, have that template set up and print it and send it off to them. So you can see there's variations as to what you can do. Um, but I feel like the most important part is that we've done all this work to give us, I don't know if it's clarity, the assurance that everything is right, that we're providing that quality work, and that if a client asks us a question, I can go in and know what the answer is easily. They want to say like, what's in that prepaid amount? Like, what's going on there? Oh, let me just pull up this report I have here. Here's the information you need. Instead of me like going back, trying to look at the prepaid details, sorting it, figuring out, what's been paid, what's not, da da da, what's the balance. Yeah. I have it because I'm on top of it and I know that I'm dealing with all of this well, right? And everything's working. Um, then, the side benefit here is then we can add value and provide great reporting to our clients. But that's a matter of if they're in that realm of thinking that they need it, all that sort of stuff. But I think we have to be going through all of these other steps, no matter what. Okay. And what I'll also tell you is this might seem like completely overwhelming and a lot. You're like, holy crap, there's all this stuff to do. What's going on? This is this is going to kill me, right? But my approach to things is to systemize like everything, okay? And make it really efficient, um, which, yeah, make it fast, but make sure that it's working right. That's where like all these checks come in and all this sort of stuff. But assuming you do the bank feeds correctly, your reconciliation should take a couple of seconds. So um, you're going through that, you just make sure it's right. You slow down when something's wrong on those, right? And you have to investigate it a little bit. The work papers. I create a work paper for prepaid and I then save it as the next month, right? So I'm not having to recreate everything or anything like that. I create a system to deal with that actual account and I just rinse and repeat, just do it over and over and over again so that it's really, really easy to do. Um, I also like to explain things of how much brain power is are things going to take. Um, you guys kind of know what I mean, probably. When you're doing a cleanup and you have no clue what's going on, you're trying to figure things out or the initial stuff, that's really like you're going to have a headache at the end of the day, brain power. This stuff, it's setting up the systems, which takes some brain power, but once we're just going through the processes over and over again, we know what to look out for. It's easy. There's no headache. It's like, okay, I finished that step, next. Great, finish that step, next. Okay. And this is the way, if you want to grow your business and have more staff and stuff like that, this is how you need to start operating is, like here are these steps that have to be completed, and then they're done, then we can move on to the next stuff, right? Um, and what I'm doing and allowing you to have in this process is giving you areas where you can delegate tasks and then you can review that and use that as a teaching moment to help um, teach your staff, grow them, and keep on growing your business and all of that. Okay, so there's so much good stuff that comes out of this whole month end thing and the way that this is all laid out, um, that will help you. And we're going to take the crazy chaos out of everything and we're going to put that OCD accountant stuff and control it all. And this is like how I control it. Um, and it's not difficult. We keep it in its place and we're all good to go, right? And it's like, okay, I went through the process, I'm done. Yay! Now move on and, keep the cycle going because remember, it's a cycle. We're just going to keep on doing this every month. And really, we're just like making sure nothing gets screwed up in the month. Let's move on, right? So it's great stuff. Okay, we are getting close to the top of the hour. So if you have an opportunity now or anything to put in any questions, go ahead and do that. Because I feel like I've gotten through almost everything that we're going to talk about today. I will just look at my file folder and see if there's anything else I kind of want to share. On anything. No, not yet. We're going to dive into everything else pretty well into throughout the course. Okay. So the other thing I want to tell you is that, yeah, our classes are on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but because July 4th is next Thursday, I'm pushing that. Obviously, I'm not recording a session for you on Thursday, on July 4th. Okay, I'm pushing that. So we still have the 6 sessions, and so like that sixth one is on that fourth week of things. So just be aware of that. It's all correct in the webinar emails and everything. But if you have any questions, just let me know on stuff. And I think that is almost it. Yes. Okay, guys, that is it for today. Um, I will be going over probably in some other courses, but great intro, great start to everything. Hopefully, you don't have too much of a headache from me. And know that I got you. We're going to have fun. We're going to be going through this. And oh, I forgot. The other thing is I'm doing this in a time frame where it is perfect for you to do month end with this. Okay. So on Thursday, we're going to be talking about planning. And once we're done with planning, I want you guys to try it. Try it with your clients, come up with those checklists and the calendars and all of that. Okay. Everything that we learn. So if you are trying it and you run into any questions, that's where that Facebook group is awesome. Ask your questions. We'll take care of you and make sure everything is flowing right. Because who doesn't love training and real life experience all bundled up together? Okay, great. Okay, guys, I am going to sign off and let me know if you guys have any questions or any issues. So, thank you all. Bye.